Elaine and Harriet Beverage. We're at the Edinburgh Fringe and we have just seen their two amazing shows, both of which are very on trend. Harriet made it easier, she called her show Menopause. And Elaine, I think you can tell us all about Gusset show. You'll understand it better than I will.
I'm a pelvic health physiotherapist and only about 25% of women ever come to clinic because we're to get treatment for their leaking, and so I wrote a comedy show to try and encourage people to come along.
Like you do?
Like you do. So it's evidence-based, it's called Gusset Kippers, and the idea is that people leave knowing what their pelvic floor is and when they should seek help, which is if they're leaking at all.
And we get to do the exercises too.
Yes, you do.
Tell us a little bit more about the idea and how you kind of...
Well, I had a patient that told me a smashing story about her wetting herself on her doorstep, and she was from Glasgow, so it wasn't equally funny. And I asked her if I could use the story. I had a hobby of doing stand-up, so I did 5 minutes on the stage about wetting myself on the doorstep, and 4 women spoke to me afterwards and said, oh, me too. But they hadn't spoken to their GP and they didn't know that I was a pelvic health physio. So I thought there's maybe something in that, because the shame that's associated with these kind of symptoms prevents people from seeking help. And because there's a really good success rate, most people that leak can be helped, if not cured, with conservative treatment. So it's really important.
And I think it was really interesting, wasn't it, watching it, that you do pick up, you've seen it,
yeah.
And you pick up 10-10-3, it'll be on the website. So you get practical tips, you're laughing, and then you just know everyone in that room.
Yeah, no, we're all
we're all. And I said, oh, can you do them all if you just sit there for an hour, which I did, but apparently it doesn't work like that. But I think that's what's brilliant, and you're sort of saying, I think was it the statistic about 2 weeks, or if I made that one up, you were talking about that.
Yeah, if once people start doing the pelvic floor exercises, so you're supposed to do like a long slow clench for a count of 10 quick flicks, and do those 3 times a day for 3 months. But anecdotally, about most women notice an improvement in the quality of their orgasms within 2 weeks.
That's the one I needed to tell.
That's the one you remember.
I'm not going to give anything away about why we know that. You have to go and see the show to hear that one. So, and you've seen it as well.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about it, because we've literally just watched your show, and it was a cracker. So, Menopause, tell us more.
Well, it's personal experience. As a comic, I tend to write about my experiences. So I've done a show on being a parent, I've done a show about aging, and then, just when you think you haven't got any material, life gives you the material. So lucky me, just when I needed it, I turned perimenopausal, and as far as the doctors were concerned, it was quite young, so it took quite a long time to realise what it was. So I probably had 18 months of thinking I was really ill, and if I'd only known what the symptoms were and what the treatments were, I could have really shortcut that and saved myself a lot of stress and saved the NHS a lot of time and money. So, like you were talking about the shame thing, to actually, can we just talk about this, please?
I mean, I think that's what your show came out. It's just that women just aren't educated about it at all. And if anything, the younger generation that were watching your show, if they can then know what an early perimenopause was, which is exactly why you started Hot Flush, we've never heard the word. And at the age of 50, late 40s, you just found naive.
I think what was nice about your show as well is that you were able to talk about those misconceptions, like the antidepressants, and right at the end, again, don't give too much away, but you go through the various things that you were taught, you can't do anything, and actually there's so many things that you can do even before you're perimenopausal.
Absolutely, even if you're nowhere near menopause, all the stuff that's helped me would help you. I've had people in their 20s, had a couple of medical students a couple of days ago, and all that stuff will help them, male or female, but particularly when you're at this stage. And also what I found was that the medical fraternity just didn't know, and God bless them, love them, squeeze them. There was a lot of the doctors I went to see who didn't know what the latest research was, and because they're so overworked and so much to do. So it was like we all need to know this stuff.
Well, then in terms of gynecology, they have so little time to learn about the whole of women's.
But 51% of the population is female.
Yeah.
So it's exasperating to have people that I totally accept they are totally overwhelmed, but it is really important that if you're a GP that you do understand this stuff and you've got up to speed, because you are going to be dealing with people who are menopausal probably half of your life.
Not so sure the statistic is, but it is, we are the peak, you know, we're in that greater bulk of their patient base, because we're more likely to go to the GP.
Yeah.
You guys have so you've not got a medical background, have you, Harriet? But that's true, isn't it?
Women go much more often to the GP than men, and sometimes that means that women's problems get a bit, you know, poo-pooed is the wrong word, but there's lots and lots of research to show that women's pain isn't treated the same way as men's pain is, and that women's issues just aren't given the same amount of attention. And that's not to criticise the GPs, it's just a historical thing really that medicine has worked. So it's up to women to advocate for themselves and say, actually, I'm not tolerating the symptoms because it's interfering with my ability to work and enjoy life.
Yeah.
And he says the kind of natural process. I'll talk about the parallels between being pregnant and being giving birth, and often when it's a natural process. I remember going to the doctor with a cough and a cold when I was pregnant. They went, "It's all right, the baby's fine." I was like, I didn't care about the baby right now. I care for me. And obviously, you know, because it's a natural process, that was what they're fixated on. So, you know, menopause is a completely natural process. Some women will sail through, but that doesn't still mean that they're a menopause.
And not every woman has children.
Absolutely.
So in terms of that, everyone will go through it, no matter whether you've had a child or not. So
part of the problem, I think, is when you deliver this information, because you know, giving young women information about periods and sexual health and things, they get that in school and sex ed. We're lacking a forum where we can give this information out. Now you've got the internet and you've got websites that are available.
But then why at school are they not actually talking?
There is a campaign now, I think, where they're starting to say this needs to go on the curriculum. Because actually we've got to be working until we're 67, and we can't be elderly, and we can't, and this isn't anti-aging, this is, we've got to stay top of our game as much as we can.
Yeah, because no one talks about it post, you know, if you have had a child, there's nothing beyond that. The women, you know, you have your scan, your breast scans, but yes, talk about that. I liken it to a vice.
Both of your shows were absolutely loving it, and they were, you know,
well, the men were laughing.
Yes. How many men have you had into your shows?
I think with mine, it's been people who've been kind of pulled in. It's been really interesting to see the dynamics. So either he's brought her in because it's like, love, I think you need this, you know, and there's a bit frosty, or vice versa. So that's something I address at the front. It's around like, look, if we all need to know this stuff, like my sons, I mean, you know, they were like, oh, well, you know, you've got your this and that, and you know, they know what it is, and it's completely like, I'm about to hit puberty and you're about to hit that. That's really normal.
Well, you're bringing your daughter into your shows, and from what you've said, all sorts of stuff gets said in your house.
I know, you get very disinhibited when you work in genitals, and you totally forget that probably it's not appropriate at all. So yeah, the poor kids probably have far too much information. My daughter came to the show last night and deeply regrets her choice. She's 14, but I have to say the audience were very receptive, men and women, because you do talk about men's consciousness as well. That's really important that as we age, our bodies start doing things, men and women. And I think it was really interesting for men to listen. They were probably quite shocked by what, because you go into quite a lot of detail, but
you
detail that I'm seeing
sticks into your show as well,
Yeah.
don't you? So how many, because incontinence and prolapse are common menopausal symptoms.
Yes, so prolapse affects 50% of women that are post-menopause.
Which is
Yeah, and it's something that's just not discussed. And it's so common that you could almost say that it's a normal process. But the problem is now we're not good at educating women. If they do their pelvic floor exercises, they can either prevent it from happening or maintain it. It won't prevent it for everybody, because if you're hypermobile, so it runs in families, so if you're super, super bendy, then that increases your risk. If you've got a lot of heavy lifting in your job, or you know, you've had kids and you're doing a lot of heavy lifting with uncooperative toddlers that you're trying to forced into a car seat, if you've got a job that's requiring a lot of standing, if you are overweight, and if you do lots of impact activities, then that all
so small people who do a lot of sports are actually...
It depends. If your pelvic floor is strong enough, it's not a problem. But because there's a real push now for women to spring back to their G size after having a baby, and actually there's evidence that you shouldn't be doing any impact exercise for at least 6 months after you've had the baby. And really the evidence is suggesting that 6 months after you've stopped breastfeeding, because your hormones are still all over the place. So these are things that can have lifelong implications. And that thing about being invincible, that kind of pressure to be invincible.
Yes.
I know that the spotlight is on the younger women about looking perfect and so on, but it's saying that at a menopausal stage that kind of, you might have to rejig things to get the best out of yourself. Like diet for me was a really big transformative thing.
But what's interesting at the end of both your shows, complete strangers will come and talk to you about this.
Yes.
They won't go to their doctor about it, but
it's an awareness raising and then a signposting.
And historically, menopause was seen as sort of like a negative thing in a woman's life because you're past it, and that isn't true. It's just a complete nonsense. There's lots that I hear women say that they're celebrating about it, that women that don't need to now live under the fear of pregnancy can be very liberating.
Nurturing. You don't need to be kind of quite so worried about looking after everybody. And it's about making time for you. Well, listen, I think we've had 2 hysterical women on the sofa. It's not the hot flush orange sofa, it's a lovely grey one. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you very much.